Yeah, I will talk about the Pocket Science Lab and yeah, how to get involved and how to contribute during the Google Summer of Code. Yeah, my name is Marc, as already mentioned. I'm a software engineer and yeah, free software contributor for a little bit more than 20 years. I started with a search engine project called GSoC, and there's also Michael, who dragged me into this whole thing. Yeah, I contribute to the Pocket Science Lab since 2019, when yeah, I asked Mario of FOSSASIA, what is this Pocket Science thing? And he gave me a Pocket Science Lab and said, yeah, have a look, and maybe you have something to contribute. That would be great. And yeah, now I'm here. I've been a mentor for yeah, the last 2 Google Summer of Code, and will be a mentor this year. And yeah, I'm happy to be a mentor because I think it's pretty rewarding to see how the students develop, how they become experts in what they are doing. And most of the times they know their domain of the contribution better than the mentors in the end. So that's pretty nice, I think. Yeah, but what is the Pocket Science Lab? The Pocket Science Lab is yeah, a small hardware. It really, yeah, sometimes we have handbooks and they don't really fit anywhere. The Pocket Science Lab is really small enough to put it in a pocket. It's no lie, and is affordable. So yeah, students can buy it, or you can, if you're, yeah, you don't need to be afraid to break it because yeah, it doesn't cost a fortune. Yeah, you can connect this board to your phone or PC, and that makes it yeah, a measuring device. Yeah, we have also an app and a library, so without software it would be worthless, but yeah, we have this app, and yeah, you can control the board with the app. And you can connect with USB or Wi-Fi, and yeah, Wi-Fi has this little asterisk there, and says, yeah, additional hardware required. Yeah, you need a small ESP01. It only costs a few dollars, and yeah, forwards all the information to the Wi-Fi. Yeah, because I mean, one big thing around here is AI, and I uploaded my slides to Copilot, I think, and it said, yeah, nice slides, but what is it actually good for, this thing? And it gave me this sentence, which I think sums it up pretty well. Yeah, you have this open source hardware ecosystem that empowers students, makers, and researchers to perform scientific measurements everywhere. And that's what it is. You can take it with you and use all the different tools. For example, you can use it as a multimeter. Yeah, this is a screenshot of the mobile app. And you can choose the different inputs and measure different things, like the voltage up here. I think it's up to 16 volts. Then you can measure frequency here, and capacitance over here, and air, of course, resistance too. So if you have a bag of resistors and you don't know the color codes, you can use this to measure them. Then for me, this is the highlight of the device is the oscilloscope. It has 4 channels, and with those channels it measures the voltage over time, the way it changes. You can see that in this curve. Yeah, it measures up to 2 million samples per second. That should be enough for yeah, signals of up to 1 megahertz. So, but I think it's yeah, best in the kilohertz domain. And we can not only measure the voltage, but you can also use the device as a logic analyzer and measure yeah, logical high and low, like this. Maybe if you have a bus, where devices communicate. You can look at that, and it has 4 channels and up to 4 megahertz. I always say up to because the channels, they share the bandwidth. So the more channels you use, the lower the bandwidth gets. In addition to the tools I mentioned, there are also additional things like the wave generator. It creates sine waves or triangle waves, but actually it's you can use arbitrary waveforms, but we have only implemented sine and triangle so far. Yeah, you can use that as a test signal. For example, for development, I use the sine signals all the time to look at the oscilloscope and see if everything works all right. But you can also make music with that. I've done that. Unfortunately, I didn't record that, and so we can't listen to it, but it works. And we also have those 4 pulse wave outputs. You can, for example, use them to drive servo motors. And I have a small robot arm at home, and it can work with that. And also, programmable power sources, and we can also add sensors which communicate via I2C. So it's a pretty universal device. But without software, it would only be a nice board without any function. On the board, of course, we have firmware. The firmware is open, developed by a contributor. Then we have an app. It's Flutter-based. We used to have an Android app, but we changed that to Flutter to also support desktop applications. And we have a Python library which you can use as a base to build your own applications. Yeah, the question is, how can I contribute? The first thing is, if you have a board, of course, use it and tell us, because only if users tell us what they do with the board, we know how we can make that better. Then there's a possibility to translate the app. We use Weblate, or you can add your translation directly to the Git. Then, of course, always all open source projects want you to report bugs and send new feature requests if they're reasonable. And since we're a small team, we're always happy if we get patches. So if you find something in the bug tracker and you think, I can fix that, do that. Would be great. Yeah, as I said, we're a small team. We rely on Google Summer of Code students for bigger features, and we already had very successful contributions in the past. For example, the whole conversion from the Android app to Flutter was done by GSoC students. Or one GSoC student last year, he created a prototype of a new board. So that's pretty cool. Contributions are open, as Padmal already pointed out. So I thought I'd bring 2 ideas which we had. One is, I already said, you can use Wi-Fi to connect to the board. And at the moment, we have 2 different firmware versions. And you have to decide when you compile it, which version do you want to use, USB or Wi-Fi. And it would be great to be able to switch that during runtime so that you can just reconfigure the device without flashing new firmware. Yeah, that would be one idea. That's more hardware related. The other one is a little bit more software related. As I said, we have a cross-platform app, and we have already tested the mobile versions. They work pretty good. But we haven't tested the Linux, Windows, and macOS versions yet. Well, I've used them, but I've not really tested them. So we need somebody who tests and fixes bugs. There will be bugs, I'm pretty sure. And we also would like to release the app to the to the software stores that are available on the systems. That would be the other idea. We have more ideas. The QR code takes you to the list of FOSSASIA ideas for GSoC. I think it's probably the same website that Padmal shared. And you can go to the website. I mean, it says PSLab.io on every slide for a reason, because that's the web address. You can visit us here, or if you see me walking around or just sitting somewhere and want to talk about PSLab, then yeah, do that. And if you want to buy a PSLab, you can also ask me. And that's my talk. Any questions?
Yeah. Any questions from the audience? Can I ask about how many number of hours for the ideas? Because Dr. Padma shared that it's about 170.
When I saw his slides, I said I missed that. I think I think they're both medium size, but I'm not really sure. It's in the if you visit this address with a whole list of ideas, they all have the hours that are estimated. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks very much.